What kind of evidence are you seeing that wealthy Hong Kong people are getting ready to immigrate?
Good morning. At Arton Capital, we see an increase in demand for investor migration solutions. People from Hong Kong calling us, asking, where can we go, what's on offer, and we give them the right solutions in different parts of the world.
So in terms of those different parts of the world, what are the target countries? Because there's some sort of surprising names on that list. Portugal, Montenegro, Bulgaria, not what you consider traditional destinations for wealthy Hong Kongers. So what's the deal there?
That's right. Canada is also on the list. Canada is very traditional. People from Asia have been going to Canada for a long time. That's still on. The federal investor migration program has closed. Most of the provincial programs have closed. Quebec is still on. But the new kids on the block are the European countries, are Portugal, and since this year, Montenegro. Unlike Canada, these countries in Europe do not require a long-term physical presence. A minimum short physical presence is good enough to maintain your residency status and eventually to qualify for citizenship. So people who are not about leaving Hong Kong immediately, physically, they may choose those European solutions so that they can stay in Hong Kong for some longer, but they have their plan B in place and can leave for Europe at any time.
Well, presumably people have to be pretty wealthy to be able to do this. And of course, you remember back in 1997, there were before, Hong Kong was taken over by China, a lot of people went to Canada, although they had to if they invested a lot of money, they could. So what kind of investment, what kind of money do these people who are going to apply for these visas have to put down in order to have this, even if it's just on the back burner as a safety valve?
Well, in Canada, the Quebec Investor Migration Program requires a bond investment of 1.2 million Canada dollar. However, at Arton Capital, we can finance this at a cost of 330,000 Canada dollar. In Europe, it's different. In Portugal, you don't need to buy bonds. You buy a real estate. The minimum amount for that is 350,000. After 5 years, when you're eligible for citizenship or permanent residence, you can sell that property. In Bulgaria, again, it's government bonds. The value is about €500,000. This can be financed. Again, in Montenegro, it's a mix. In Montenegro, where you don't just get residency, but where you get citizenship right away, you have to buy a property, €250,000, and you have to make a donation to the government at €100,000. These are the amounts, lower, medium-sized, 4-digit amounts.
Philip, it's interesting that as you talk about countries, you said in your note to us that U.S. has become very difficult and less attractive. Is this because of the cost of moving? Is it because the United States doesn't have these same kind of programs? Is it something about the doors to immigration seeming to be not quite as wide open as they once were?
U.S. has become difficult for different reasons. One reason is the long waiting period for Chinese citizens. Citizens of other countries are affected too. The process is slow. Another reason why the U.S. is less in favor of investor migrants now than it was, say, 20, 25 years ago after the handover in Hong Kong is the fact that global tax is on the mind of everybody. People are aware of it. In the olden days, that was less of an issue. So people tend to favor the U.S. much less than they did in the past. And new countries are available. Don't forget, if you are a resident of Portugal, you're a resident in a Schengen country, and you can travel not only visa-free, but even passport-free within the whole Schengen zone, which is about the same size as the U.S. So Portugal may be a small country, but it's part of the Schengen zone, which gives you access almost all over Europe. So there are alternatives now in place that were not there before. And another factor is that the English language has become much more commonly spoken in Europe. Today, more people speak English in Bulgaria, in Montenegro, in Portugal than they did 20, 30 years ago. So that's highly attractive for Asian investors.